What's up guys, Jivan back with another video, and today I'm going to be VOD reviewing your solo cash cups. Before we hop into the video, I just want to let you guys know the next community video is going to be on duo cash cups. The link to submit clips is down in the description. You'll have about a week to submit clips, so be sure to record the next duo cash cup. And if you've been liking the content, please consider using code JivanTV, it helps me out a ton. Without further ado, let's hop into it. The first clip of the day is from Bobbio, and he was wondering what he could have done better in this fight. So I saw a couple things. First off, when you're building up to high ground, you're choking your retakes a little bit, which obviously that happens to all of us, but you were low on mats, so that did hurt you in this fight a lot. But the biggest mistake is right here, when you take all that damage on this peak shot. The biggest thing you gotta think about when you're taking peak shots is how optimal is the peak, which basically means how much of a chance does the enemy have to shoot me in the time span it takes me to take the peak shot. In this situation, he had a lot of time to line up a shot and hit it. On top of that, when you build this ramp, it tells him that you're going that way, so he's already looking in that direction. The better way is always to do it behind like a right-hand peak of some sort. Or hit him with a misdirection, place that ramp and then go out a different side. And then the last thing is when you get really weak here and you have no builds, I honestly would have just tried to disengage. Every single game in a solo cash cup matters so much, so you gotta make them last. Yolzi here is in the middle of endgame. Super low on mats. What could he have done differently to get a higher placement? That's his question. Right here is the missed opportunity that I'm seeing. There's a guy in a 1x1 base in wood, and you're max HP with heavy hitting weapons. That's your push, that's your refresh, whether it be jumping in his top or basing in front of him and smacking on his wall. One of those two options could have saved your game. He then runs out of mats and he's forced to like rat around, and there's a lot of people and he's just like screwed. There was loot on the ground that you could have gotten, but it was in the storm, you were already weak, it could have been scuffed, I don't know. The missed opportunity was earlier. Jraculas asked how he could have played this better. There's a few things. First off, flip your ramp. You never want it sideways when you're pressuring a wall like that. Second off, I would have gotten a side angle and pressured the wall diagonally. And then the last thing is at the end when you're boxed, try to flip your ramp around so you at least have some more time to react and maybe counter peek. So Medley here is in a rough spot. He's weak with no heals and he's basically out of hard mats. So one of the biggest things that I noticed while watching back this end game is a lot of times you're standing here waiting to rotate rather than looking around for opportunities. Place a cone over your box and peek through it, because that might allow you to find siphon opportunities and just refresh opportunities in general. You never want to be sitting in a box wasting time doing nothing. One of the golden rules of solo cash cups, make every second count. So later on right here, you're out of grapples and you're kind of inching towards back edge of zone. Instead of looking ahead of the zone, in this situation, I would be looking around you on back edge for other players that might be shambles, because then you can get a refresh and you can get some health back. It's going to be a lot less likely for you to find a weak player on front edge of zone than it would be on back edge of zone. And on top of that, sprinting across the zone here was so sketch. I would have used your mats on back edge of zone to find some siphon, because you're too weak to open rotate without blocking your angles. And then at the end here, this play on this guy I think was the right play. It's just you were so weak at this point, you know? Only thing is you could have used your wall below you to set up a better peek on him. Okay, Dollar Street Jivan, first off, right off the bat, what kind of beef did you have with this player that you're pushing here? Look at your loot, you were so kidded, bro. This one kill point is not gonna do squat for you, so just drop it, man, drop the beef. But all good, eventually you stop fighting, and once you stop fighting, you're a little bit behind on the rotate planning, so you make some room in front of you so that you can scout ahead and see what's going on, so I like that. So you had a free chance to go right side, but this guy started pressuring you, which is I think why you cut across to the other side of zone. But personally, I would have stuck to the right side. It's only one player, you can easily build off one guy that's spraying at you, and you know that there's only one guy on right side and there's still 20 plus people in the lobby. So right side is probably going to be the dead side. You can see first off it's so scuff cutting all the way to the other side of zone, and you had to use all your grabs to get there, and by the time you get there it's just like bad positioning, you know what I mean? You're on back edge. It really just came down to I would have egoed that guy in front of you to keep rotating. Either bloom fight him, build over top of him, put cones over your head so you can tarp under him. One of those things, he would have been chilling. So Vox here sends 2 clips in one. In the first one, he just wanted to show off his piece control, which was nice. He killed Fart Bomb, by the way. Which, a fart is a bomb on its own, you know what I mean? I mean, it's a minor explosion between the legs. The second clip, he was wondering how to prevent dying and getting lobbied when he gets keyed by one kid. The most important thing here is you got to be aware and make sure you don't get fried at the start of a fight, because you're always going to get full keyed if that happens. Second thing is, what you tried to do is try to get some counter damage. That's one of the most important things. That way he has to go heal and you can heal. And then how to not get lobbied. I don't even think you really get lobbied here, but the biggest thing is using old builds as line of sight breaks, and then making sure you're not caught between all the people looking to spray and the enemy that's pushing you. It's hard to do if you're the one getting pushed, but if you're pushing someone else, it's pretty easy to do that. So Lunorio here gets high ground, and he was wondering how he could have held height here or just won the game in general. So the main issue is he doesn't have that much AR ammo. So I would be playing a little bit close up to the second high ground player, the person who's second closest to high ground. Try to get a refresh off him so that you can get your ammo up, and then at that point you can full spray the rest of the lobby. Holding height a lot of times comes down to how much ammo you have and how much mats you have, and then how much pressure you keep on the people below you. But you can see here he's playing a little bit far back and spraying with the ammo he has, but yeah, no, I would just get a little bit closer up, because you need a refresh to win this game, in my opinion. And because he doesn't have the materials to pressure second high ground, eventually he gets cranked up on, gets bodied, and then is forced to go to low ground with no mats and dies. That was the main issue, yeah. And then the question may be, while you're pressuring second height, what if he takes high ground from you and you're unable to fight it? That's when you drop down before you're out of mats and start looking for a refresh down there, and you just change layers. That's how I would play it personally. This next game, he was wondering how he should have rotated or how he should have gone for a refresh. So after watching this back, it kind of reminds me of Medley earlier. You know that you're a little bit low on mats here and you're kind of in the need of a refresh ASAP. Otherwise your mats are going to be gone and you're going to be put in a situation where you need to do a forced play, which is never the situation you want to be. You don't want to have to force plays, you want to let them flow, you want to let them come to you. So basically what was happening is a lot of times throughout this end game, you aren't really looking around you for opportunities. You're sitting in your box a lot waiting for the next rotate rather than looking for plays. And on top of that, you are a bit center in the zone, so it's going to be harder to find a safe play. Try to stay on the edges. Those are my two biggest pieces of advice for you. So Psychotics here was wondering if I saw anything fundamentally wrong with the way he was playing here. First off, right off the bat, the advice I tell almost everybody, because it was told to me, try to stay out of the center, especially when you're sprint rotating. If you sprint rotate on the lowest layer in the center of the zone, you're at like the most possible danger you could be in. Because basically, think about it like this, every single layer in the entire map has angles on you. Everyone above you can see you, everyone on your layer can see you, and everyone from every side can see you. See what I mean? He only sent me half the game and the rest of it was pretty straightforward, so we're gonna go on to the next one. That's why I was wondering why he keeps getting shot in the back on these rotates, and he got focused and moving early, so what could he have done different? The truth is, bro, on these grapple rotates, and especially in a water zone, it is so difficult to make it without getting shot. The only thing I can think is either you maybe could have gone earlier, or you should have waited until like the zone starts moving in and more people have gone by you. That way there's more things to grapple off of and more places to break line of sight. Those are the only things I can think of here. Now for the moving rotate, as soon as the zone popped, you immediately went. This very rarely works. The only time you should ever do this is if you hard scout and you know for a fact that it's completely free. And usually you'll know if it's free. In this situation, you were the only one that has rotated so far, and you landed in an elevated layer where lots of people could see you. That's why you got lobby focus here. Just be more patient and make sure you scout before rotating. And try not to land center of the first moving zone. So Dynick is wondering why this guy jumped in his box and how he could have countered it. And now sometimes, people just be brain dead like this. Sometimes people just jump in boxes and you gotta be ready for that, especially in solos. People play weird. The reason he kept on keying you, you can get people to stop. But the reason he kept on keying you was because you were choking a couple edits. That's the sad truth of it. If you were hitting the edits escaping without taking any damage, he probably would have given it up. So just keep on working on those mechanics, bro, and always be ready for people to jump in on you and don't get nervous. You'll get used to it eventually, I promise. Cam was wondering if there was anything wrong with his rotating. Is there just anything he could have done to survive? Now let me just tell you this, bro. Sprint rotating across first moving zone is sketch, but it is something you need to do. The way you can minimize your chances of taking damage is just sparing a few builds here and there. Try to build more wood ramps behind you and walls in directions of most danger. I'll be placing ramps behind me all the time. One build per box, that is not bad. And you can keep sprinting while building like one build here and there, you know what I mean? If I know I'm going by someone that's above me, like I'll build a couple floors just to keep myself safe and to tell them I know you're there. At the end of the day, it really came down to that first damage you took, because after that you were kind of stuck on back edge of zone this whole time. I would say try not to tank the storm at all here. Try to stay ahead of it. As soon as you get those minis off, go. go. If you fall behind on first moving, it is torture, dude. And you can see, like right here, you get a kill and this was perfect, but immediately after, somebody else jumps in. That's just what first moving be like on back edge of zone. It's terrible. So try to stay ahead, and anytime you have an instinct to block an angle, just do it. It's worth sparing a couple mats. Next up, we got Diamond, one of my Twitch mods. Shout out to you, Diamond, the GOAT. Diamond's wondering about rotation and refreshes, so here's what I would have done. On this grapple rotate, you know that you're in canyon zones. Try to land elevated on your grapple here. That'll help you so much, and you can look down and back at people who are shambles on low ground. It ends up pulling up the canyon, and then you're forced to build up into a place that you know nothing about. You have no information, so that's a little sketch. But you make it up and you make it into the zone, so everything is good so far, but at this point, you have a lot of time to play with. You're just sitting in a metal box, and this is another one of those situations where you don't want to waste any time. There's kids behind you on your rotate, so I would set up a peek box, like just protect your angles, peek out of a window, and get some pressure on the people around you. Any chance you get, you want to try to get other people's shambles in this game, because that's going to help your chances in the long run and maybe even get you free refreshes. But the most important thing is make sure you are very cautious about your angles while doing so. You get to frontside here while blocking your angles on the rotate, just like we had talked about in the previous clip, so that's great. That was a really good example of what I was trying to explain earlier. You aren't really playing a side in this lobby, you kind of keep rotating back to the center of the zone, which is a habit that I had a lot. It's not so bad, but do try to mark like edges of zone, like right side or left side. I always try to do that now. You'll definitely notice it in my last solo cash cup. So right here, that's a perfect refresh for you. You look to backside, you didn't get the kill, but you got the mats, so W. So now we're going through a building, you're going through it cautiously, I like that, and eventually you decide to sprint and storm, tank a little bit to get out of the building. You probably could have played through the building, but sprinting out of it was good too. It really didn't matter. But at the end of the day, you're second height at this point by going up layers. So this was a little bit sketch up here, and then this is a mistake that I actually just told Ken Beans about when I was VOD reviewing his games. Never open up your edit to where somebody else's cone and floor is. I would have tanked like one tick of storm, built a wall where that cone is, and gone around the outside. I literally do that drop down play every single endgame, so you gotta look out for that. A lot of other people do that too. Fro's wondering how he could have grappled without getting shot out and how he should have handled it when he did get shot out. So you want to go over these builds rather than under them. Try to get some elevation and do like quick shots of the grapple rather than holding it, especially when going over water, because water griefs you. When you do get shot out, it's good, you just healed up, that was fine. Maybe flip your cone up so less people can see you. But then we're on the move again. I would try to aim a little bit more right so that you're getting closer to a side, but other than that, this was fine. Sometimes you just get shot out. I probably would have tried to go up a layer rather than branching out on this awkward low ground layer. Well, that's just unfortunate that you left that wall open, really. So two things, try to stay elevated on your grapples, and then when you're on an awkward layer like that, go up. Those are the main things. So that's all the time I have for the VOD reviews today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to be in the next one, check out that link down below and submit your Duo Cash Cup clips. Don't forget to hit that like button, use code JivanTV, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.